start?
Yeah, we'll start. I'll just share my screen. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yeah, Surika, I can see it.
Okay. So I'll just give again some backdrop of yesterday's class. So yesterday we have created the Maven project. So to create Maven project, the steps are simple. Just you have to go to File, New, Project, Maven project. Okay, and you have to click on Next, and then you have to again click on Next. Here you should select Maven Archetype Quick Start. The version might be anything like 1.1, 1.4, like that. And after that you'll be just asked for the project name. Give the same names in both of the fields and just click on Finish. Then once the project is created, you'll see the folder structure, which is different from our Java project. So in our Java project we used to have only source folder, whereas source folder. In Maven project you'll have src main, src test, and then you'll also have pom.xml file. So in order to add the jars, in order to download Selenium, all the changes needs to be done in pom.xml file. So in this pom.xml file, you have to just add the dependencies. These you'll get from Google. You have to just search for Selenium Maven dependency, WebDriver Manager dependency. If you search for it on the first website, you can just click on that link, and in that you will be able to see. So based on which version is being used most, so you have to just click on that version, and there you'll have this 4 lines of code. So you have to just copy it and paste it in the pom.xml file. That you need to paste it between the dependencies tag. So this is the dependencies opening tag, and this is the closing tag. In between that you need to paste that code. Okay, so once it is done, you can check like whether the dependencies are downloaded or not by seeing here. If you see the terms like Selenium, it means that your download is done. Okay, now in order to run this code, you have to just create one package in src test and create a new class in it. And here, in order to run on any version, this WebDriver Manager dependencies will help you. So this will work for any version which is installed in your system. Whereas if you want it only for a particular version, then you have to do system.setProperty. And if I want to do it on Firefox driver, I have to replace this with webdriver.firefox.driver. And I have to download the Firefox dependency, like Firefox exe file. Similarly, you have to open your Firefox, you have to go to the settings, check the version which is installed in your system, and you have to go to Google and search for that driver, like Firefox driver. Then you have to download it and give the path of it. Instead of doing all that, you can simply do add this WebDriver Manager dependency. And if I want to run on Edge driver, okay, this is this now. Let me see if I'm having Safari driver or not. Yeah, now if I want to do it on Safari, I have to just do WebDriver Manager.Safari driver.setup, and here I have to create the object for Safari driver class. Okay, now if I run this, then my code will get executed in the Safari browser. There is some exception. One second. So now what happened was that robot was not able to access this. So I have to set the preferences if I want to run on Safari. If you face the same exception, you have to just search for how to do it in Chrome if you're facing it. Generally for Chrome you won't have that. So I'll do this later. I will just change it to Chrome and run it on Chrome because I am also doing in this laptop for the first time. So if I want to run on Chrome driver, I have to do WebDriver Manager dot Chrome driver dot setup. So WebDriver Manager is the class, and within that WebDriver Manager, you're having this Chrome driver method, and there is also a sub method in it which is called a setup. So this will set up your browser to run. And if you want to perform some actions for in Selenium, you have to create the object with respect to the driver in which you are running. For suppose now I am running in Chrome driver, so I have to create object for Chrome driver class. If I am setting up my browser for Safari, I have to give Safari driver. Okay, so once you write WebDriver equal to new Chrome driver, the object is created and you can use all the methods which are present in Chrome driver and WebDriver class. Okay, now this driver.get method will help you to hit the URL. So you have to specify the URL in the double quotes, and whenever you use this method it will hit that URL, and by default your browser is opened in a small view. If you want to maximize it, then you have to use the command driver.manage.window.maximize. So Selenium can only maximize the window. If anyone asks you what is the command to minimize, Selenium cannot perform a minimize operation. Okay. And once the browser is opened and once you are on your website, if you want to perform any actions, first you need to find the elements. So I'll continue those locators first. So in order to find that element, we are using find element method. So everything is taking the help of its reference variable for which the object was created. So now I have to use driver.get, driver.manage.window.maximize, driver.find element. Everything is referred to driver. Okay. So if, for example, if someone gives you a D, then you have to say d.get. Okay. But in general, what we write in Selenium is driver only for that variable, so that everyone are on like same, they'll understand the same thing. Now, in order to find these elements, we are using locators. So all these locators are present in the by class. So within the find element method, you are writing by dot. So if I just do by dot, you'll see all the locators like class name, CSS selector, ID, link text, name, partial link text, tag name, XPath. So you have to take the help of these 8 locators in order to locate the element. So what is ID? Do you guys remember how where we can find get that ID?
Yeah, if you go and right click on the inspect, we will get the ID for the locator.
We will get the code for the locator, and within that you should search
You,
whether ID is there or
ID.
not.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, you can have any of the locator in the code.
Out of the 8, or you can write like 2 or 3 locators for every code, but majorly we'll give a first preference for ID. If ID is there, you have to use ID. If ID is not there, then you can go for XPath. Name is not preferable in real time, so name is also a locator only. Sorry, name is also a locator only, but this locator can be used multiple times by the developer. So if there is no other option left and you are left only with the name, then you have to make sure that the name is unique. Just copy that and do Control F and paste it, and you need to check whether that is present. only single time or whether it is present for multiple times. That you can check by, if you find like here like one of one or one match, that means that that word is used only once in the code. Okay, now id name, and then comes our xpath. Xpath we are having two types, like relative xpath and absolute xpath. So what is absolute xpath? Nashin, can you say what is absolute xpath?
I am not remembering actually.
Probably నీకు గుర్తుందా?
లేదు, నేను కూడా నాకు కూడా గుర్తు రావట్లా.
Mm. So, generally, this language in which this code is written is called as XML, Extended Markup Language, which will
Okay.
have tags, opening and closing tags. Okay. In the HTML, everything is written in XML format. That is, which is written in the tags format. So, XPath means extended path, like you're trying to identify those values with the help of this extended markup language. So I am trying to locate that element, so I'll just right click on this element and I'll do an inspect, and from here I'll try to find the hierarchy in which that is related to. Starting from HTML tag, I have to note down all the tag names which are in relation to this particular element. In order to find that hierarchy, you should see this difference, like this input is here, and above this on the same line, on the same height, you can
So,
see
for
the
example,
label tag.
yesterday you were saying, right? For example, if you wanted to write input, then we have to start from the like hierarchy HTML. If it is in the head. Otherwise, if it is in the body, then input, like that.
Yeah,
Extended.
yeah. XPath is the same. XPath means you are trying to note down all the tag elements starting from HTML tag to the current node. And they should have a relation, like it should be like parent, grandparent, like that. So to find that, you have to see this tab spaces. So here input is there, on top of it label is there, and these both are at same height, there is no difference. But this div is having like one space to the left, right? That means input the div is the parent of input. Did you understood? Wait, if I put a div, some name.
So, without this terminology, if it is like in a normal terminology, we can say it's like whichever the thing is there in a cross line, okay, like a
Hmm.
bending line from the upside to downside, then that is called the hierarchy, right?
Yeah. Now see, this input is there above one step, like there is a tab space difference, like there's 5 spaces difference between div and this input. Can you see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this input is the child of div, and this div is child of body, because there is a space difference. You can see these vertical lines which are separating them.
Mm. So if they are in same line, will you
They are
consider
become like sisters, like brothers, siblings.
yeah, like will you consider that in path or no?
We are not considering it.
Okay.
While writing the path, you have to consider, like, while writing absolute x path, while writing absolute x path, you are not considering your siblings, you are only considering your parents,
Mm.
the hierarchy.
Head will not consider, no, only
uh
body and
yeah, we
shape.
are not considering head, because head and body are siblings,
Siblings, okay.
because those both are at same height.
Mm. Got it.
Okay, so in order to write this, you don't need to always write that, you have to just do right click, copy absolute x path, full x path, and if you copy that, you will see the full x path, something like this will be there. So in absolute x path, every element, every tag is separated by a single front slash. So if I soon after copying it, if you paste, you'll see that everything is having one front slash in between. So, whereas in relative XPath, you will have two front slashes in the formula. So, for relative XPath, the formula is two front slashes tag at attribute equal to value. Why we are going for
So
relative
it
XPath when
means
we
we
are
have
having
is a hierarchy, and relative means it has a formula, and we have to just put it in the same formula, right?
yes. The difference is here you are following, like you are noting down all the tags, but here you are directly referring to the current tag for which you want to write the XPath. The advantage of relative XPath is, for suppose developer tomorrow he got a requirement saying that he want to add one more field in between username and password. He wanted to add one more radio button saying gender. Okay, then what will happen? Your automation script will get failed because it is just trying to consider from on the basis of hierarchy, right? So when you're doing that, it is not able to find this element because the hierarchy is changed now. In between, after div, you're having one more input, and after that input, you're having one more input. అర్థమైందా? For example, if I want to click on this second, I want to type something in the second radio button, sorry, second text box. Okay, but I have written an XPath like even before this is written, even before this radio button code was written. By seeing this particular code, if I have written the XPath like HTML slash body slash div slash input of 1. Okay, so input of 1 means the first element, which is password. So HTML is there, inside its body is there, inside that div is there, and inside div I am looking for the first input. So now this is password. But tomorrow developer got a requirement that he has to change his code and he has to add one radio button before it. Now when Selenium is trying to do driver.find element, then what will happen?
Radio button will come up.
Yeah, this is the first input because Selenium will start searching from the top. So whenever it has found the first occurrence, it will stop looking at the below code. So because of that, now when I'm doing input of 1, it is going to radio button. But I have written to perform a send keys operation, that too in the password field. That is not happening. So whenever there is a change made by the developers, we cannot rely on absolute XPath. This path might change from time to time. Whenever there is a change, even in this ID value, or if there is any change in this div structure, or there is some one more parent added to it, in all those cases your absolute XPath becomes invalid.
ఓకే ఓకే సో జనరల్గా అంటే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇది ఎప్పుడు చేంజెస్ చేస్తారు టెస్టింగ్ లో ఏమైనా ఎర్రర్ ఐ మీన్ వాళ్ళు ఏమైనా మార్చాలనుకున్నప్పుడు ఇఫ్ డెవలపర్స్ డూ ద చేంజ్ ఇఫ్ ద కోడ్ ఈస్ చేంజ్ దెన్ ద అబ్సల్యూట్ path will become, I mean, has to be, so
Has to be
it becomes
changed.
invalid.
Yeah, it becomes invalid. Either you have to update it, again you have to look at the element and do this, which is a repetitive process. So the developer might change n number of times, so we cannot rely on our absolute XPath.
Becomes time consuming.
Yeah, so instead of that, we should always go for relative XPath. In relative XPath, you have two front slashes tag at attribute equal to value. This is first formula. Okay, so based on this, yesterday you guys have said me, so today we'll write for some other different element in different website. So let's go to Facebook and let's write for this login button.
సురేఖ ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు క్రోమ్ డ్రైవర్ తీసుకున్నావు కదా, లైక్ ఐ మీన్ హూ విల్ డిసైడ్ దట్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు టెస్ట్ ఇన్ ద క్రోమ్ ఆర్ సఫారీ ఫైర్ఫాక్స్?
So generally we will do cross browser testing in real time, like you have to do the testing on Chrome, on Edge, on Firefox, and on Internet Explorer. we have to do on all the browsers. Okay.
ఆంటీ వాళ్ళు చెప్పాను అని పర్లేదు.
So we have to do on all the browsers. So basically, like anyone in today's era, they'll use Chrome first, right? Then
ఓకే.
if they're Apple users and iPhone users, then they'll go for Safari. Mac users. So
ఓకే.
first preference is always for Chrome only. Firefox and all, due to the performance issue, we will not prefer, right? We will never prefer Firefox. But there will be users who will be using Firefox, who will be using Edge. So whatever the application is being developed, it needs to be tested on all the browsers. For that, what we will do is we have to there is something called as, when we develop our framework, we will write our code in such a way that we are doing parallel testing. Means one side the Chrome browser will be open, one side the Safari browser will be open, and the test cases will run on both the browsers at the same time. అర్థమైందా?
Yeah, but how will we get to know that where it is getting stopped? I mean, once we come back again to the Selenium page, will it show like the error? I mean,
Yeah, you will get the report, detailed report you will get on which element, on which line of code it failed, on which browser it failed. Everything you'll have in that report.
okay. I mean, it will show like for Chrome it worked till here, and for Safari it worked till here.
It will show. And
Oh,
actually we will do something which is called as taking screenshot. So whenever the test case got failed, the system will take a screenshot by itself.
really?
Yeah, it will take. So it will take that screenshot and it will store in the folder. And in some cases, what will happen? We will create the report in such a way that after every step, you will pay. Whenever there's a fail step, below that only you'll attach the screenshot. Like the report will be generated like that, which will have the failed screenshot. So based on that, you will be able to see.
Okay, is the latest technology.
కాదు ఎప్పటి నుండో ఉంది.
అవునా?
సో
అదేంటి ఆటోమేటిక్ గా స్క్రీన్ షాట్ తీసుకోవడం అంటే నేను ఎప్పుడు వెళ్ళాను.
చూపిస్తా నీకు కొన్ని రోజులు ఆగు, ఒక 10 రోజులు అయిపోయింది.
ఇంకా 10 రోజులు. So Selenium will take how many days for us?
It will take around like 15 to 20 days.
Okay, once Selenium is done, the course is done, huh?
No, you guys have to learn MySQL, Postman, API testing. మరి చెప్పాలి కదా, చెప్తేనే కదా మీరు చేయగలుగుతారు. చెప్తా.
వావ్, గుడ్ ప్యాకేజ్ అయితే.
నువ్వు నేర్చుకోవే చాలు, నువ్వు నేర్చుకోవడం కోసమే ఇదంతా.
సరేగా, నీ శిష్యురాలను అనిపించుకుంటాను వన్ డే.
సరే అయితే నువ్వు దీనికి ఎక్స్పర్ట్ చెప్పు. Like, can you apply that formula, like 2 front slashes tag at attribute equal to value for this login button?
Okay.
చెప్పాలా?
Yeah, both of you, anyone can say. I'll just paste this so that you'll see it in a bigger way.
పర్లేదు, నేను ఫోన్ లో
కనిపిస్తుందా?
అంటే నేను ఫోన్ లో చూస్తున్నా కదా, నేను జూమ్ చేసుకోగలుగుతాను క్లాస్.
Okay. Nausheen, are you able to see this element?
Yeah, it's small only actually.
Okay. Let me paste it. So now this is the code. So based on this code, apply the formula to front slashes tag at attribute equal to value.
Value in quotes, right?
Yeah, in quotes.
Okay, so I'll tell for the button value double slash tag at the rate.
Tag ఏంటి? Tag ఏంటిది?
Tag ఏంటి? బటన్ tag.
Button is the tag. The first element is the tag.
Tag at the rate.
At the rate
value is equal to 1.
Value equal to 1.
1.
Can you say for another attribute, Nausheen?
Yeah. So name
equal to login. So probably this value equal to 1, this is a numerical data. So whenever you are seeing the code, you can like when the next time if you are visiting, there might be chances that this numerical data or the data like this, like 51sy, some sequence related things will change whenever you do a page refresh action.
Mm.
So it is not constant every time. So in those cases you have to not give preference to the attributes which are including such type of numbers. So you should go for either name, or else you can go for this data test id. Okay, or else you are having id. So in this id also you are having numbers, right? So this
Mm.
id also might be changing sometimes. So in those situations what we have to do, I'll tell you. But for the first formula, you understood, right? You have to write tag at attribute equal to value. Now for
So
suppose,
what you meant is like, um, what you meant is like, if for example, if we get a numerical value, it might get updated. So we should always try for a alphabetical value.
yeah, even in that alphabetical value also, that should not change. Like in my system, if I'm opening this browser in my system, so at the
Mm,
time I'll see this value as 10, and if you
mm,
are opening you will see it as 99. And even in this id, u05 is there, na? This might change to u07. We don't know. If it
mm,
is related to some numerical data, there are high chances that those are not constant values. Those will change from time to time.
okay, okay.
In those cases, you should not use such attributes. You have to look at other attributes which are present, like this data test ID, which is
Mm,
including only the normal alphabeticals.
mm.
Okay.
Surika, generally, like
Mm.
input will allow you to input, right? What is a button tag will do?
Button tag is to click, like it is a click action. This is the button on the page.
Uh, okay,
These are the button tags. And the
okay.
anchor A is for links. So in order to get this forgotten password and all, you have to use A tag.
Enter.
And in order to
Okay.
have this in a specific box, and this box is only having some specific colors, so in order to segregate it, you will use the div tag. Div tag is for division,
Mm.
dividing it into separate blocks.
Okay. I mean, for example, here on the web page which you're showing, it is in two blocks, right? One
Mm.
is this one and the full block. So they might have used one div block, huh?
Yeah, see, if you open this, you will find a div tag. So within that div tag, they might have written the code. So
Okay.
again, for every element there are some specific colors. So whenever you want to apply these colors, they will put it under div tag to do some font decorations, to do some stylings. Generally we use the div block to separate it out.
Okay. Like, for example, login has a blue color and the other
Mm,
one has a
uh,
green
so,
color.
yes, for
Mm.
example, here you are seeing this div class 6LUV52VG. See, in
Mm.
the right side, you can see for 52VG, he's saying the text align is center. So the text should be in center.
ఎక్కడుంది సెంటర్ అని
ఇక్కడ ఇక్కడ
ఆ,
కనిపిస్తుందా?
కనిపిస్తుంది
Um,
కనిపిస్తుంది.
and for the class which is having the name as 8ICY, he's saying font size should be 17 pixels and it should be of width 364. To do those decorations, we go for div tag.
Okay.
Mm. Okay, so generally class means you are trying to group some things. In HTML, the class attribute we will generally use to group few fields, few data. Okay, so this class name is common for more than one element, that is for sure. Now id is unique, name might be used multiple times, but class in most of the cases it is used multiple times. Class is not unique.
Okay.
So for this first input field I might have the name as class name as ATSN, and for my second input also I'll have my class name as ATSN only. Okay, so now we will go for the second formula. The second formula is two front slashes, tag, rectangle bracket open, text equal to inner text. Okay, now within this code, from here till this angular bracket is closed, this is your opening tag. and which is there, which is having the front slash, it is your closing tag. The data, the text which is present between these two is called as inner text. Okay, whatever we write in this inner text, that only will be displayed on your website output. Now I am able to see the login being written here, right? That login in the in my html, where I have written that, I have written it in between my button opening and closing tags. Okay, did you guys understood what is opening, where is that inner text?
Yeah, I understood. Yesterday, when you're doing for drop down, also you did like that only, right?
Ah, yeah.
You have input the values again within the angular brackets. You have given the names.
Yes.
But when you gave for other things, you did not give, but only for that drop down you gave actually.
I gave for label, like I have used this label tag, no, for enter.
So, in which cases do we give that in the middle of the angular brackets? Yeah, see here, the option value you have gave down.
Like when value should be displayed on the
Displayed on
screen.
the screen. Whenever I want the value to be displayed on my web page, then I have to give it in between the opening and closing tags.
Acha, okay, okay. Yeah, in the front end, whatever the things you want to display, it will be be there.
Yeah. So that text.
Why for this it is not there? Input type, radio, text ID, password, and all.
Because these are like fields. This is on button you can write some value, but on input field, if you want to write something, you have to, in the input tag, if you want to write something, then you have to put it under placeholder. ఇప్పుడు in general, like when you're seeing this form of login page, you're not having any heading here, and
Yeah.
I'm just seeing email address or
Uh,
phone number here, right? So whatever is written inside is called as placeholder.
Okay.
So if I want to mention something as my placeholder, then I should mention it as an attribute in input tag. I'll show this. For radio button you won't have, only for when type is text you can have that placeholder. So placeholder equal to enter password. I have written this statement. Now when I run this code, now you can see here, right, enter password is written inside.
yes. So you created a placeholder, so it is there.
Displayed inside. If I want to display it outside as the label for this, then I have to display it as a label tag. I have to use this label tag, and I have given enter username in the between the opening and closing tags. That's why you are seeing enter username like this.
Okay, okay. Edena,
Outside.
I mean, anything, if you wanted to view on the front end, then you have to put it within the angular brackets. And if you wanted it as a label, you have to put it as label, right?
Yes.
Then, sorry, I forgot. I got confused. So, what is this input type actually will do?
You're defining it whether it is a radio button or it is a text or it is an email. If I for this I can give it as email, and
Acha.
for password I can give it as password, because the password should not be visible, right? While we are typing, it should be hidden.
Hmm.
Now if I'm not giving it as type as password, and if I'm running this code,
Yeah, you will be able to see the password.
yeah, whatever is being written you can see that. But
Yeah,
if I
if you give
want
it
to
as a
have,
password, it will become star.
it will give you the dots or star.
What about phone number? Like phone number actually
Yeah.
should be like minimum numbers, right?
Yeah, it should have the limit, no? So for that you will have like min max size.
Okay.
um Wait, I forgot. Like it will have min and max.
Like something like minus or something like this one.
Attributes only will have minimum three characters, max 10. I'll
I
show
think
you.
you will give min as also 10 and max is also
No,
10
no,
so
no.
that they give the
It will
correct
give.
phone number.
Yeah, that can also be there. But let me see once.
Uh, uh, A is used for links, right? You said yesterday.
Mm.
A is for used for links, and this
It,
href inside that anchor tag, which is for link, whatever you're putting under href should be the URL to which it needs to be redirected. Now, for example, I want to
సారీ
create
ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ చెప్ప హెచ్ఎఫ్
నేను
ఏంటన్నా
చేస్తాను, నేను ఇక్కడ చేస్తాను.
లేదు లేదు అంటే జస్ట్ నాకు ఏందో అంటే సరిగ్గా వినిపించడం మధ్యలో.
Now this href attribute should contain the URL of the page. For example, I want to read upon clicking that link, I want it to redirect to Amazon page. Okay, and I am displaying the name for that link as Amazon.
Okay.
Because I'm writing it in between the opening and closing tags, I will be able to see it as a text outside. So if I'm refreshing this, I'm seeing a hyperlink. So if I click on this link, now it is redirected to Amazon.in. Okay, so to which where it should get redirected, that is defined by the href attribute. If I'm giving Facebook, it will redirect to Facebook.
Then what if you don't give that like Amazon or something? Then how would the reference will work?
If you're not giving anything, then it'll just, even after clicking, nothing will happen.
Okay.
It'll
No, no.
just be coming as a plain text because you are not providing any href attribute. It is not having any difference where it should go.
Okay. My question was like you give the link, but you won't give that Amazon reference as ID. So what about them?
Oh, in that case, not you'll just see a plain small dash, I guess. That also won't be there. You don't know where is that link. You
Okay.
won't be able to see on the screen.
Mm. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Phone number validation, right? This is taking it. Give integers, no? Type is equal to numbers, I guess. Let me see.
కానీ generally just for us HTML is just for understanding purpose, but we will not be writing any code in HTML, right,
We
Sureka?
won't write any code. We are
Yeah, just
just understanding it in order to locate those elements.
yeah, like just to get an
Type
idea
should
like
be
what they
tell
are
it
trying to
sims.
do, the developer team.
Mm. You. This is my best friend. It'll just give me the answers. They are using JavaScript only to do that 10-digit validation. But in order to be it as integers, you can give the type equal to tell it sims. Instead of text or email, you can
Mm.
give tell. This is the JavaScript method which will here is there no on input. So whenever you are entering any value, soon this method will be called. So in that method, you have written the code in order to check whether the length is 10 digits or not. You don't need that depth, but just remember that anchor tag is for link, select is for drop down, input is for input fields, button is for clicking for a button to be displayed,
Okay.
div is for a division, and within that the class name can class name attribute is repeated multiple times, id attribute is used only once, name is can be used multiple times.
Class. How
Class
do you
can be
use
used
class?
multiple times. Class is used to decorate. All these attributes, whatever the developer is writing, these are not written for testing purpose. These are written for his JavaScript code. He will later use these values in order to do some validations, in order to do the next steps.
Mm.
We are just taking the help of those attributes what he has written in order to run our code. Okay, now for this button only, can you tell me by applying this formula in a text? Can you tell me what we should write?
But hmm,
For this button code,
yeah,
Yeah, button,
mm,
bracket open.
mm,
So the inner text will be login.
yeah.
What about the text?
It's the same. The text is text on it. Text equal to
Oh, text is text. Okay, login.
login. Okay.
ఇక్కడ అది పైకి కిందకి వచ్చింది కదా, మరి నీకు ఎలా తెలుసు లాగిన్ కి స్పేస్ ఉందని?
See, it is space sensitive and case sensitive as well. So while you're writing only, you have to just right click here, do inspect, and you need to copy from directly from here. If you just double click on this, the entire text will be copied. Okay. Then you
వీటకన్నా నేనే బెటర్ ఏమో, వీళ్ళే ఫుల్ సెన్సిటివ్.
so I have to first paste that so that I am not doing repetitive actions. So I have pasted it and I have written. Now I got one of one. So this is valid. I can use this XPath.
ఓకే, జనరల్ గా ఫస్ట్ వి విల్ ఇన్స్పెక్ట్ అండ్ జస్ట్ ఫర్ అన్ మళ్ళీ చెప్తున్నా. ఫస్ట్ వి విల్ ఇన్స్పెక్ట్ ద వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ అండ్ దెన్ వి విల్ జస్ట్ చెక్ దాట్ for any XPath or any locator like ID, name, anything, we have to check there in the down. If it is there one time, then only we can use. If it is there for multiple times, we cannot use. As it is like from it works from upside down, so it will locate to another place. Antena?
Ante, that's all. Because Selenium does the top down, so whenever it has found the first occurrence, it won't look with the rest of the code at the rest of code. So for the first element only is used.
Okay, whenever we wanted to take any locator, we have to check whether it is there one of one or not.
It should be there only one of one. Then only you can use
లొకేటర్ తీసుకొని మనం ఏం చేస్తాం, టెస్టింగ్ యూస్ చేస్తామా?
now after taking this locator, like in this case, where did I write? If I suppose if I'm writing for this Amazon in, what did I do yesterday? I have taken this ID attribute, right? Two about search box, two tab search box. Then what did I do? I went here, I did driver dot find element by dot ID, and I have given ID. Now if I want to do it with XPath instead of this, if I want to do it with the case of XPath, by dot XPath, and my formula is two front slashes, input tag is my tag, at the rate id equal to
సురేఖ, ఇప్పుడు జనరల్ గా ట్యాగ్స్ అనేది HTML లాంగ్వేజ్ కదా, సో డ్రైవర్ డాట్ ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ బై డాట్, దీస్ ఆల్ ద టర్మ్స్ రిలేటెడ్ టు సెలీనియం లాంగ్వేజ్.
This is Selenium. Like driver dot find element is the method which is written in Selenium in that WebDriver interface, and this by is also present there only. And in this by you are having a method called as XPath, and within that method you are passing the parameter whatever your XPath value you are sending it. Okay.
Sureka, but you said XPath is a locator, but now again you said it is.
This value is the locator. This you are using this locator inside this XPath method.
XPath, okay.
This is a method inside Selenium. When if anyone asks you what are the different types of locators, these are the locator names that we are the whatever values that we are getting by using these locator concept, we are using that to find the element. Now Selenium needs to find the element. Right now it has to go to that input field and it needs to type something. So in order to type it, it should know the path of it, like where is that web element. So how it will identify? With the help of this path it will identify. Now I'm using XPath, so I have written XPath and I have given the XPath value. If I'm using ID, I will say that I'm using ID and I'll give that ID value.
Okay, I think now you're going to give the syntax of this also. Driver dot find element. అలా ఓన్లీ ఒకటే ఉంటాయి, చాలా ఉంటాయి ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ లాగా వేరేవి కూడా.
There is find element and find elements. Two are there.
ఓకే,
Find
డ్రైవర్
elements
డాట్ గెట్
is for
మేనేజ్ క్లోజ్ అలా ఎన్ని ఉంటాయి టైప్స్
అలా like these ఇలాంటి కమెంట్స్ చాలా ఉంటాయి.
ఉంటాయా?
You'll
ఓకే.
have so many comments, but while using it is like very easy. You don't need to remember. You have to just do driver dot and you'll see all the elements. So
ఓకే, స్విచ్ గెట్ క్విట్ నావిగేట్.
everything will be there here only. You have to
బట్
just use those methods.
ఓకే, ఏది ఎలా యూజ్ చేయాలన్నది మన వర్క్ బట్టి మనకు తెలుస్తుంది.
తెలిసిపోద్ది నీకు. ఇప్పుడు నాకు నా రిక్వైర్మెంట్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ మై రిక్వైర్మెంట్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు డూ. మై రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఈస్ టు ఓపెన్ అమెజాన్, సర్చ్ ఫర్ ఏ ప్రొడక్ట్ అండ్ క్లిక్ ఆన్ ద ఫస్ట్ లింక్.
అవును.
ఇప్పుడు నాకు మొబైల్స్ కావాలనుకో, ఐ జస్ట్ సర్చ్ ఫర్ మొబైల్స్ అండ్ ఐ వాంట్ టు క్లిక్ ఆన్ దిస్ ఫస్ట్ ప్రొడక్ట్. దట్ ఈస్ మై రిక్వైర్మెంట్. ఓకే, so in order to do this requirement, what I should do, first I should open amazon.in. Now to open amazon.in through Selenium, what is the method that I have to use to hit the amazon.in? What is the method name?
డ్రైవర్ డాట్ క్లిక్
కాదు,
అమెజాన్ క్లిక్ చేయాలి,
హిట్ చేయాలి.
హిట్ చేయాలా?
So Naushin, do you remember what is the method to hit the URL?
No.
Driver.get. So the
Get,
driver.get is to hit the URL.
ఓకే, సరే.
So the process starts from here. Like we'll write driver.get whatever the URL.
We'll specify the URL, and after that, what I'm doing a maximize operation. So to do maximize, I have to use driver.manage.window.maximize. Okay. Now I have clicked the browser, I have hit the browser, and I have maximized my window. Now I need to search for mobiles. So now I have to identify this mobile input field. And I have found the ID of it. I have written the XPath of it. Okay, after writing XPath, what I am doing? I am copying the text path.
Yeah, we'll check whether it is one of one or not.
You will check whether it is one of one or not. After doing that, what you are doing, you'll just copy this. If it is
So,
one of one,
always we follow relative XPath, right?
yeah, we will always follow relative XPath only. We won't use absolute XPath in real time much, like in real time projects. So I have opened the browser. I have I maximized it. Now I have to search for that element. So in order to search for the element, what is the method name?
Driver.find element.
Yeah, find element. Now how I have to find? I'm having
By
8
dot
locators.
XPath.
So by dot, I have written XPath, so I'm calling the XPath method. So within the XPath method, I need to specify my XPath.
XPath.
Okay. Now Java is having one problem.
జావా కూడా సెమికోలన్ కావాలా ప్రతి లైన్ కి? ఓకే, సారీ, జావా కావాలి, సెలీనియం కూడా కావాలా?
The Selenium is written in Java language kada. Now we are using Java syntaxes. Similarly, it is there in C# as well. There the methods are same only, like for driver.get manage are same only, but the syntax is different. Now here I am doing driver.get, here I am doing driver.find element like this, whereas in C# it might be like this, find underscore element, and the way to call the methods might be different. In Python it's different. So Selenium is a it is written in multi programs. Okay, you can do it either through C#, Selenium, Java, Python, Ruby as well. Okay.
ఏంటది సెలీనియమా?
The Selenium is in all the 4 languages.
ఓకే ఓకే, ఏంటంటే అవి?
Java,
C#, Python, Ruby. Okay, but mostly what is in current trend is like mostly Java and C#.
Java, C#, Python as well, but Python will take like 3-4 more years to come.
అంటే నెక్స్ట్ 4 years అయితే పైథాన్ భూమ్ లో ఉంటది ఏంటి?
అంటే ఇప్పుడిప్పుడే వాడుతున్నారు పైథాన్, బికాస్ ద పైథాన్ ఫ్రేమ్ వర్క్ ఈస్ డిఫరెంట్ when compared to Java. So that's why it's
difficult also.
It's for me it is difficult, but for many people it's easy.
నీకు డిఫికల్టా?
I don't like Python because it won't have syntax is like this, like it won't have the semicolon, it won't have these braces which will separate based
Yeah.
on space you need to do.
Yeah, for us in 6th sem there was Python. That sem we didn't even write the exam, it was passed because of COVID.
Oh,
uh,
lucky you, Notion.
Everybody told this is very important sem, you will have very difficult subjects, but we passed it because of COVID. Just
hmm.
like that. And they gave very good CGPA also. It was like more like 7.5 because they compared our whole sems and
Ah,
CGPA actually.
Hmm.
okay.
If you see this Python code now, this is Python code. So here you won't have any class
ఎలా
name.
వచ్చింది నీకు పైథాన్ కోడ్?
నేను పైథాన్ కూడా నేర్చుకున్నాను కదే.
ఓ, నీ ల్యాప్టాప్ లో ఇప్పుడు ఇందులో కూడా పైథాన్ ఇన్స్టాల్ చేస్తావు ఆల్రెడీ?
ఉంది already. So here
సూపర్.
you, based on this space only, you should write the code. For everything you will have indentations. You won't have the semicolon. You won't have where it is starting and ending. Based on the space you will define it.
మంచి కలర్ఫుల్ గా ఉంది కోడ్.
కలర్ఫుల్ అంట రాస్తారు ఇదోలు తిడుతుందేమో మరి.
That's today you wrote, na? Like for Python, we don't have to install separately.
No, we have to install. Like in Visual Studio Code, you have to just download that extension, and
Okay.
in this terminal, like you need to download in the similar way to Java only. Mm. So,
అయితే సురేఖ పైథాన్ ఓన్లీ ఫర్ టెస్టింగ్ కి యూస్ చేస్తారా ఏంటి, డెవలప్మెంట్ కూడానా?
for development as well, Java, Python, Ruby, all these are the languages which are used to develop the applications, like the backend part.
Okay. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇఫ్ ఎ పర్టిక్యులర్ organization are using Java for developing their product, then they use Java for testing.
It's not like that.
Mm.
It might be written in any language.
Okay.
Your testing, the way you want to test that application is based only on your company, your project, and what are the resources available.
ఓకే, వాళ్ళు జావాలో డెవలప్ చేసినా కూడా ఇఫ్ ద కంపెనీ వాంట్స్ యూ టు టెస్ట్ ఇన్ పైథాన్ దే విల్ డూ ఇన్ పైథాన్.
Because there is no relation. Here you are just trying, and Python, Java, all these are the languages which are used to develop the back end part, not the UI part. Okay.
ఓకే ఓకే.
Selenium is used to test
యూఐ
the front
హెచ్టిఎంఎల్
end.
కదా?
Basic structure will be in HTML. The code after this, like the what HTML is just to define these web elements, and CSS is used to color this. But after clicking on any of this, whatever the action is being done, so whenever I'm clicking on this mobiles, and if I'm clicking on the search button, there is some operation which is done on backend which is trying to get all the mobiles which are there in the stock from the database, and it will show you over here. You'll be able to see all the phones which are present in the database. So the code to get that elements from like all the data from the database and to put it on the front end, that is written in Java
Ja.
or some other language which the company is using. You won't be able to see in which language is written and how it is written and what is the logic behind that. That everything is hidden.
ఓకే ఓకే.
That is abstraction. Abstraction means you are seeing only what you require. You are
What?
not able to see how it is implemented.
ఓకే ఓకే, సూపర్.
Okay. Now I wanted to say this. So in Java, the double quotes. If here you can see that there are four double quotes. Okay. Now Java cannot identify whether it started from here and ended here or whether it started and ended here. It is not able to define. So that's why you are getting this error. Okay, syntax error. Now to resolve this, what you have to do, you have to change this into a single quote.
Okay.
Or else, if you are using it as double quotes, then you need to give a front slash, backslash here and a backslash outside, I guess. Here it will be outside. Okay. So now what will happen? it will come to know that this double quote started from here and it is ending here, and this
Hmm.
double quote started from here and it is ending here. Instead of this backslashes, the best way is to use single quotes for the text which is written in the value. While remembering the formula also, don't remember it as double quotes, you'll be confused while writing. So just remember this formula as single quotes. Okay, so while you're typing there only, you can put it in single quotes and copy paste it here directly.
సింగిల్ కోట్ పెడితే ఎప్పుడు అసలు ఎర్రర్ రాదా?
రాదు. ఎప్పుడు ఓన్లీ ఫర్ దిస్ ఐడి అండ్ వాల్యూ. Generally in Java, you know that string will always have double quotes, right?
డబుల్ కోట్స్ అవును.
But here you are omitting that because in order to in Java it should be in hierarchy, like double quote, single quote, double quote, like that.
Hmm.
Already these outer double quotes are saying that the value whatever is written inside is a string. Okay, so by dot xpath, within the double quotes you need to paste your xpath, but inside that the value should be in the single quote. Remember it like that. Remember this formula as 2 front slashes tag at attribute single quote value. Okay, now I have identified the web element, but after identifying I need to do some action.
Hmm.
Now this is an input field, so what is my action?
Like you have to search.
Yeah, I have to type something into
Type
that
some.
string. So in order to type something, after finding the element, after this method, just give one more dot and write send keys. So send keys is the method which will help you to type.
Okay.
Now if I am searching for gift articles, I have given here gift articles, and after typing there I need to click on this particular button. So again I'll right click on this, I'll do an inspect operation, and here I have found that it is having an ID. So now I'll write driver dot find element. Now I'm using ID,
But
so by dot ID, and within this I have to give my ID. Now this is what
ఐడి 1-on-1 ఉందో లేదో చెక్ చేయలే కదా.
ID అంటేనే 1-on-1 కదా. ID means only it's 1-on-1.
ఐడి ఈజ్ యూనిక్
Unique
కదా
value.
ఆల్వేస్. ఓకే సరే, ఐడికి మరి చెక్ చేయక్కర్లేదా? ఓకే.
You don't need to check for ID. Now I have written the path, but what is my action here? What I should do for this element? In
click.
click. So for this I have to write the method click dot click.
After send elements, you have to find the path for the other one. Sorry, ID for the other one. Like whatever the ID that has.
Like for the next element based on my sequence of actions. Now my sequence of actions, what manual user will do, he will open the web browser, he will do some maximize operation, and then he will search for it. He'll search for the article that he want, and then he'll click on that magnifier glass. The same steps we have written in the form of code. I have found the first element, I have written the send keys for sending the data, and then again I have to click on this magnifier. So I have identified the locator for that magnifying element and I have written that.
Okay, got it.
Now I'll run this.
So Srika, so first before we automate it, whatever the manual testers write the test scenario, test cases, do we get that?
We sometimes we will get that, or sometimes we only have to write. It
Okay.
depends on project to project. If it is already written, you have to follow those steps and you need to automate it.
Okay. Otherwise, you have to do it by your own.
Yeah, yes. Now the browser is open and it will type. It is taking some time because it is trying to find that element where it is. So it has written
Super.
and it will click on that. And now it is there here. So now I want to close this. After writing the code, if I want to automatically close this, then I have to use the method driver dot close. Now it won't close because it is already running.
But you have to run once again.
Once again, if I want to do that again, I have to.
Yeah.
Only the steps which are there before running, that only will happen. Okay.
Hmm.
Now you
What
are
if you want to select some element or check like all the whatever search is right? How will you come to know?
Huh?
Like whatever we search, right? That is right. We have to confirm or no?
Yeah, we have to confirm. So that we will see after few classes. So first
Okay.
you are trying to learn how to automate these elements. Then
Okay.
testing
Okay.
is always about confirming whether it has done or not. So to
Yeah.
do that we are having JUnit and TestNG. So there we will do some assertions like we are verifying.
Surya, I did not understand Naushin's question actually.
అంటే నౌస్పిన్ ఈస్ సేయింగ్ దట్ నౌ యూ హ్యావ్ టైప్డ్ హియర్ మనం ఇక్కడ రాసామే రాసి క్లిక్
Uh,
చేసాము క్లిక్ చేసిన తర్వాత నీకు
mm,
ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు చెక్ చేసుకోవాలి కదా మరి ఇది క్లిక్ అయిందో లేదో జరిగిందో లేదో కరెక్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ మీద క్లిక్ చేసిందో లేదో ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ సామ్సంగ్ అని వచ్చిందా లేదా ఇప్పుడు టైటిల్ అనేది అమెజాన్ నేను మొబైల్స్ అనే ఉందా లేదా ఇప్పుడు నేను మొబైల్స్ అని ఇస్తే ఇక్కడ
అవును.
నాకు మొబైల్స్ అని రావాలి పైన కూడా అలా అయిందా లేదా అలా నేను వెరిఫై చేసుకోవాలనుకో నేను వెరిఫై చేయాలిగా నేను ఇప్పటివరకు ఓన్లీ ఆటోమేటే చేస్తున్నాను
అవును, వెరిఫై చేయడం అంటే ఇప్పుడు మనకు కనిపిస్తుంది కదా మొబైల్స్
అలా
అని
నువ్వు
అయిందని
ప్రతిసారి
అది
చూడలేవు కదా నువ్వు స్క్రీన్నే చూస్తూ ఉండవు
ఉమ్,
అండ్ నీకు రిజల్ట్స్ చూపించాలి కదా నువ్వు వేరే వాళ్ళకి ఇప్పుడు వచ్చిందని నువ్వు అంటావు కానీ నేను అలా నమ్ముతా
ఓకే, స్క్రీన్ షాట్స్ తీస్తావు. ఇంకా నెక్స్ట్ ఒకవేళ నీకు అక్కడే కదా నీకు సెలీనియం లోనే చూపించేస్తుంది కదా ఎర్రర్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే. ఇప్పుడు చూడు జావాలో ఎర్రర్ అంటే ఎర్రర్ అని చూపించినట్టు అలా కాదా?
జావాలో ఎర్రర్ అంటే ఎర్రర్ చూపిస్తుంది కానీ ఇప్పుడు నేను ఫర్ సపోజ్ ఇక్కడ నేను మొబైల్స్ అని ఎంటర్ చేశాను నేను నీకు చెప్తాను ప్రవలి కానీ నేను ఇంకేదైనా ఎంటర్ చేసి ఉండొచ్చు పోనీ ఎంటర్ చేసిన తర్వాత క్లిక్ అయిన తర్వాత నాకు రిజల్ట్స్ కరెక్ట్గా వచ్చినాయా లేదు ఇప్పుడు నాకు 40 ఎలిమెంట్స్ రావాలి 40
ఉమ్,
రిజల్ట్స్ రావాలి
ఉమ్,
డేటాబేస్లో 40 ఉన్నాయి మొబైల్స్ నాకు 40 రావాలి సో 40 వచ్చినాయా లేదా నేను వెరిఫై చేసుకోవాలి కదా ఇప్పుడు నేను రన్
ఉమ్,
చేసిన
ఉమ్.
వెంటనే నేను చెక్ చేసుకోలేను కదా కింద వరకు వెళ్ళి ప్రతిదీ 1 2 3 4 అలా కౌంట్ చేయలేం కదా మనం సో
అవునవును.
నువ్వు వెరిఫై చేసుకోవాలి నీ ఎక్స్పెక్టెడ్ రిజల్ట్ని యాక్చువల్ రిజల్ట్ని మ్యాచ్ చేసుకోవడమే టెస్టింగ్
ఓకే.
సో in order to do that like in order to verify this you are having test ng and JUnit which you will see later
టెస్ట్ చేయండి.
JUnit
ఓకే.
okay that we will see later that is also there that is the main part actually okay now you have now you know like how to send the data you know how to click now if I want to do select the values from the drop down for that there is a different code so for suppose here there is this all drop down and here you are having multiple elements so in order to select a value from the drop down you have to just first right click on this drop down and write the locator of it. Okay, now say the locator for this.
సెలెక్ట్,
Directly select.
అదే డబుల్ డబుల్ స్లాష్ సెలెక్ట్ బ్రాకెట్ ఓపెన్.
So while you're typing, sometimes it will stay here or else it will go, it will just leave that and it will show something else. Then again you have to right click and select, click on inspect.
నెక్స్ట్ బ్రాకెట్ ఓపెన్ ఎట్ ద రేట్ ఓకే, వాల్యూ ఇన్సర్ట్ వాల్యూ కదా.
ఫస్ట్ అట్ ద రేట్ attribute select చేయి ఇట్లలో నుండి
అట్రిబ్యూట్ ఏదైనా సెలెక్ట్ చేయొచ్చు కదా.
ఏదైనా సెలెక్ట్ చేయొచ్చు కానీ నువ్వు సెలెక్ట్ చేసేది యూనిక్గా ఉండాలి, మారకుండా ఉండేలాగా చూసుకోవాలి నువ్వు.
అవునవును. స్టైల్
స్టైల్ డిస్ప్లే అనేది మిగిలిన వాటికి కూడా ఉండొచ్చు కదా, అన్ని డిస్ప్లే అవడమే కదా ఎలిమెంట్స్.
అవునవును.
సో
ఆ
నువ్వు అది
పక్కనంతా
తీసుకోకూడదు.
బ్రాకెట్ లో అదే డబుల్ కోట్స్ లో ఉన్నదంతా స్టైలే కదా.
సో మనం
అయితే
అలాంటివి
నేమ్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు యూఆర్ఎల్ చేయొచ్చా? యూఆర్ఎల్ కూడా చాలా ఉండేది కదా.
నేమ్ ఈక్వల్ టు యూఆర్ఎల్ ఫస్ట్ ట్రై చేసుకోవచ్చు. ఇప్పుడు నేమ్ అనేది నీకు
ఈజ్
తెలిసింది
ఈక్వల్ టు డబుల్ కోట్స్ యూఆర్ఎల్
సో ఫ్రమ్ నౌ we will make a habit that we'll write in
వన్
single quotes.
అనుకో.
So you are getting 1 of 1. So 1 of 1 వచ్చింది కదా, so now you can use this. Okay, now what we have to do is this find element. If you are hovering on this method, you can see that it is having the return type as web element. So for every method there will be return type, right? Whether it might be void or int or main, double. In the similar way, this find element is having web element as its return type.
ఓకే సురేఖ, ఇప్పుడు నార్మల్ గా ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ డ్రైవర్ ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ అనేది మెథడ్ కదా, బై అనేది కూడా మెథడే.
బై అనేది క్లాస్. ఎప్పుడైనా ఫస్ట్ లెటర్ క్యాపిటల్ ఉంటే అది క్లాస్.
క్లాస్
నీకు ఇలా బ్రాకెట్స్ ఉన్నాయి అనుకో వెంటనే, అప్పుడు అది మెథడ్.
ఓకే, బై అనేది క్లాస్, మళ్ళీ ఐడియా అనేది మెథడ్. మరి డ్రైవర్ అనేది ఏంటి?
డ్రైవర్ అనేది వేరియబుల్.
వేరియబుల్
ఆఫ్ it is holding the memory of the cron driver.
Yeah. Got it. And
now what I'm doing, I'm just trying to find the element by dot. Again I have written the XPath, so I'm just pasting that XPath, and now I'm trying to store this element in one variable. So what this method is trying to give me, it is trying to give me a web element. So I'm storing it in a web element, some variable name. So this is for cell, let me name it as drop down. Okay, I need to import this.
ఓ అయితే ఇంకో ప్యాకేజ్ పెడతావా?
just you have to hover on it, you'll find that import statement, and that will be imported. Okay, so element is imported. Now what I'm trying to do, I want to for selecting that drop down, you're having 3 ways. So if you open this drop down code, if you expand this select tab, you'll see that there are multiple options in it. So all these options are the values which are present in the drop down. Okay, so to select the value from a drop down, you're having 3 ways. One is select by visible text. Visible text means the text which is visible on this drop down. Okay, and then you are having select by index. So our index always starts from 0, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3. So if I'm giving third, that means it will select the fourth option from start. Okay, and select
ఫస్ట్ ఆప్షన్ నేను చెప్పింది బై విజిబుల్ మీన్స్ ఏం కనిపిస్తుందా?
ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ నాకు ఆల్ కేటగిరీస్ అని కనిపిస్తుంది అనుకో. వెన్ ఐమ్ ఓపెనింగ్ ద డ్రాప్ డౌన్, వాట్ ఎవర్ ద వాల్యూస్ దట్ ఐఎమ్ ఏబుల్ టు సీ, if I am using that text in order to select, then it is called as select by visible text. Okay, that select by visible text is nothing but your inner text. Whatever you write between opening and closing tag, that only now it is being displayed over here.
Always it is.
So this inner text is nothing but select by visible text.
Okay,
and select by index means 0, 1, 2, 3, like that, based on the index, based on number of elements. So if I want to select the 5th element or 6th element, like that, that is called as select by index. And one more method is there which is called as select by value. So for every option tag that we write, the developers will write the value attribute. Okay, inside that option you'll have value attribute. So if you are trying to use the value which is present inside this value attribute, then that is called as select by value. Okay, అర్థమైంది వాల్యూ అంటే ఏంటో. సో విత్ ఇన్ దిస్ ఆప్షన్ ట్యాగ్ you'll have this value attribute. Inside that some text will be there. If you are trying to use that text, then it is select by value. If you are trying to use your inner text, then it is called as select by visible text. And if you are trying to use it with the base of its index, then it is called select by index. Okay. Before doing that, first what we have to do is we have to create the object of a select class. So select is one of the class which is written in Selenium. So select some variable name equal to new select, and within this only you have to
Give that.
web element. So now I have stored this entire element in this variable, right, drop down. So instead of writing here like driver dot find element and all, what I have done, I have stored this in this variable, and I am just giving that variable here. So within the object creation, I am sending that value. Remember that.
So why did we create our object web element?
Hmm? Why did I?
Why did you create that? Like, why are we using that like object?
This object will help you to handle the drop down cases. How you are using find element for WebDriver in order to find those elements and do some get operations. In the
Hmm?
similar way, if I want to do handle a drop down, I have to use the select class. So the code to handle this drop down is written in the select class in Selenium.
Okay.
So for that, I have to create object for the select class.
Hmm. And top of that, you created web element, right? It's also
Yeah,
like more
this
like
is not a
object.
class. It is just like int a equal to 5. Now I'm trying to store 5 value in a attribute, and this is a number, so I'm just giving it as int. Now what I have done in the similar way, I'm trying to store this web element, whatever I have written, in drop down variable, and I know that this is giving me it. This is of the type web element, so I'm storing it in a web element class. Okay. Now
So Sureka, there in the web element, that place like on the expert select is there, right? So that is where you mean you declared the class, huh?
అర్థం కాల.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు జనరల్ గా ఇప్పుడు కింద సెలెక్ట్ అని పెట్టావు కదా, న్యూ సెలెక్ట్ అది, అంటే అది ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కాల్ చేసినట్టే కదా.
అవును.
అంటే ఆబ్జెక్ట్ కాల్ చేయాలంటే ఫస్ట్ మెథడ్ డిక్లేర్ చేయాలి కదా.
మెథడ్ ఏం డిక్లేర్ చేయక్కర్ అంటే అది నువ్వు ఒకవేళ నువ్వు నీ ఓన్ క్లాస్లో
ఫంక్షన్.
నువ్వు రాస్తే ఆ ఫంక్షన్, దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్రెడీ రిటర్న్ బై సమ్మన్ ఎల్స్, దిస్ సెలెక్ట్ క్లాస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్రెడీ రిటర్న్, ఐ హ్యావ్ టు ఇంపోర్ట్ ఇట్.
ఓకే, ఎక్కడ ఉంది మరి సెలెక్ట్ క్లాస్, మనకి ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది?
ఇప్పుడు నాకు ఎప్పుడైతే వెన్ ఎవర్ దెర్ ఇస్ అ సిచ్యుయేషన్ దట్ ఐ హ్యావ్ టు హ్యాండిల్ డ్రాప్ డౌన్స్. సో
సురేఖ వినిపించట్లేదు నీ వాయిస్.
నా వాయిస్ వినిపించట్లేదు, ఒక నిమిషం. ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తుందా?
ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తుంది. మధ్యలో ఏంటో డిస్టర్బెన్స్ వస్తున్నట్టుంది.
ఒక నిమిషం మ్యూట్ చేస్తా. ఓకే,
ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తుందా?
సో whenever there is a situation that I have to handle the drop down values, in that cases I have to create the object for the select class.
ఓకే ఓకే.
Okay. దీన్ని అడిగే కన్నా గూగుల్ now for me what happened was I'm not able to see that import statement on hovering, so that's why I want to copy that package name. Now that error is gone. Before writing that, there was some error because that class was not imported. So whenever you are not finding it, you can find that import statement from Google as well. So now I know that I have to use select class because I am handling a drop down. So whatever the methods that I have said, like select by visible text, select by index, select by value, those are present in the select class. So as I created the object for the select class, whenever I do cell dot based on this variable cell dot, I'll see all the methods which are present over there. So here you can see the methods: select by visible text, select by value, select by index. Okay, now let us start by doing select by visible text. So I want to select the value as books, for example. If I want to click on books, so then what I'll do, I'll just right click, do inspect, and I'll expand this select tab and I'll check where the books is written. So I want to do it with the help of visible text. So that's why I'm copying the value which is present in this option tag. In between that, I'm copying that text, and now here I'm just giving that text. So within the select by visible text method, I am passing this. Okay, so I have hit the URL, I have maximized it, and I have pasted the code in order to select the value from the drop down. And then I'm searching for some book. Some name. Okay, I have given some name for to search for the book, and I have clicked. So if I run this code, what should happen? The first what I have written, I have tried to identify the drop down. So I am trying to locate the drop down, and just for my ease, instead of writing, and if I don't want to write this web element, I can just copy this entire code and I can put it inside this. So within the select class object, you can specify the value of that web element. So here you are not doing any send keys or click operation. You are writing the code only till identifying the web element. So here I have identified the web element and I am giving that web element to my select class. Okay. So if I'm giving like this, it is looking odd, no? So that's why what I have done, I have just stored that entire code in this drop down variable. So what this drop down means, it is holding this entire value. Why I have written this as web element? Because the return type of this find element method is a web element.
ఒక్కసారి తెలుగులో చెప్పేప్పుడు అది మళ్ళీ
ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ మెథడ్ ఉందా, ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ మెథడ్ జరిగినప్పుడు అది మనకి ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఈ వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఎక్కడుందో కనుక్కొని చెప్తుంది. సో మనం ఇక్కడ హోవర్ చేస్తే నీకు తెలిసిపోయింది దీని రిటర్న్ టైప్ ఏంటి అని. ఇప్పుడు దీని రిటర్న్ టైప్ వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్. సో దీని నాకు ఇది ఇచ్చే అవుట్పుట్ కూడా ఒక వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ కాబట్టి నేను దీన్ని ఒక వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ యూజ్ చేయాలన్నమాట, స్టోర్ చేసుకోవాలనుకుంటే. ఇప్పుడు నేను A=5 అని రాసినప్పుడు 5 అనేది ఒక ఇంటిజర్. సో నేను దాన్ని ఖచ్చితంగా ఇంటిజర్లోనే స్టోర్ చేయాలి.
అవును.
అలానే ఇప్పుడు నీది ఒక వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్, ఇది నాకు ఇచ్చేది ఒక వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్. సో
నీ రిజల్ట్ అనేది ఒక వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ వస్తుంది కాబట్టి యూ హావ్ టు స్టోర్ ఇట్ ఇన్ ఎ వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్.
యూ హావ్ టు స్టోర్ ఇట్ ఇన్ ఎ వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్.
ఓకే. అయితే ఇప్పుడు నువ్వేం చేసావు, వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్ డ్రాప్ డౌన్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్స్ టు డ్రైవర్ డాట్ ఫైండ్ అని చెప్పి
I have just written the XPath for the drop down.
Okay.
So I have written the XPath for the drop down and I have stored it in a variable.
Okay.
Next, in order to select the value from a drop down, I have to create the object for the select class.
యాక్చువల్గా ఇప్పుడు డ్రాప్ డౌన్ అనేది కూడా ఒక మెథడ్ కదా.
This drop down is the variable. ఇక్కడ రాసింది వేరియబుల్. ఇప్పుడు A=5 అంటే ఏ ఏమైంది,
వేరియబుల్ అవుతుంది.
మరి ఈ కేసులో డ్రాప్ డౌన్ కూడా ఒక వేరియబుల్. ఇక్కడ పేరు ఏదైనా పెట్టుకోవచ్చు. హియర్ ఐ కెన్ గివ్ ఎనీ నేమ్.
ఓకే. ఇన్ ది సేమ్ వే లైక్ int ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్స్ టు 5, ఇక్కడ int అనేది ఒక డేటా టైప్ లాగా వెబ్ ఎలిమెంట్. ఓకే. వేరియబుల్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ నువ్వు ఏదైనా పెట్టుకోవచ్చా, నువ్వు ఇప్పుడు మళ్ళీ మార్చావా అది?
అక్కడ నేమ్ వేరియబుల్ నేమ్స్ ఏమైనా పెట్టుకోవచ్చు కదా. ఇప్పుడు ఏ బదులు బి సి డి అలాగా యూ కెన్ రీప్లేస్ వేరియబుల్ నేమ్ కెన్ బి ఎనీథింగ్. I'm just storing this entire statement in a variable.
అవునవును.
ప్రతిసారి అంత ఇన్స్టెడ్ ఆఫ్ ఎవ్రీ టైమ్ యూజింగ్ దట్ ఎంటైర్ పీస్ ఆఫ్ కోడ్, ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ పుట్టింగ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ అ వేరియబుల్.
ఇప్పుడు జనరల్ గా కింద ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇఫ్ యూ లుక్ ఇన్ టు ద లైన్ 29 or 27, what you're doing is you're just trying to find the element, particular element.
I'm
Okay,
trying to find
but
that element, and after
yeah.
finding, till here I'm finding the element.
And
Once
you're sending the keys or you're just clicking it, that's all.
yes,
You're doing that functions.
yes.
But what is the action you do in the 22nd line?
So in the 22nd line, I'm not doing any action. I'm just trying to find that element, and I have just stored it in a box.
Uh-huh, okay. Where did you mention that you're storing in a box?
So this statement, this what is equal to is an assignment operator.
Okay.
Assignment means you're just trying to hold that value. So
So you're trying to store that in the D variable.
D variable.
Okay.
Now
Sorry,
with
yeah, I got it.
now with the help of that variable, like once I have created the object, but in a page there might be hundreds of drop downs. I have to
Uh,
perform the action on my selected drop down. So I have
uh,
to tell it on which drop down it needs to work. So so for that, what I have done, I'm sending my web element. I'm sending the locator of my drop down. So where is
uh,
the, I have stored this entire drop down in this D variable now. So I'm just
uh.
putting the D inside this object. అర్థమైందా?
ఏంటిది?
ఇప్పుడు నేను ఈ మొత్తం స్టేట్మెంట్ నీకు ఇలా కన్ఫ్యూజింగ్ ఉంటే నేను జస్ట్ ఇలా రాస్తాను.
లేదు నాకు చెప్పు, అలా పర్వాలేదు.
ఒకసారి ఇలా ట్రై చేద్దాం, అప్పుడు అది చెప్తా. ఇప్పుడు నాకు నేను ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తున్నాను, వాట్ ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు డూ హియర్,
You're trying to store the X path of that element in the variable D.
Here I'm not storing. I have commented that. I have created the object for the select class, and inside that select class, within that brackets, I have to specify the locator for which drop down I'm going to perform my action. So I have to specify the locator of the drop down. I have to use the find element method in order to locate that drop down. So I'm specifying the path of that drop down within this braces.
Okay.
You can either write like this, or else you can write like this. If you are seeing like this, then it is looking confused. You're not able to understand what is written within this entire thing now, for which drop down it is written. So instead of that, I'm just replacing that and storing that in a particular variable. అర్థమైందా? ఇప్పుడు నేను ఏం చేయట్లేదు ప్రవళి, ఫైండ్ ఎలిమెంట్ మెథడ్ వాడి నేను ఈ డ్రాప్ డౌన్ని కనిపెట్టాను, ఈ లొకేటర్ వాడి దాన్ని జస్ట్ ఒక దానిలో పెట్టుకుంటున్నాను. సో ప్రతిసారి మొత్తం కోడ్ రాయకుండా ఇంకెక్కడైనా నేను వాడాలన్నా కూడా నేను ఈ మొత్తం ఇవ్వకుండా డి డాట్ అని రాస్తాను.
అవునవును, నువ్వు ఎన్నిసార్లు కాల్ చేయాలనుకున్నా ఆ డీతో కాల్ చేస్తే నీకు ప్రతిసారి ఆ ఇదైతే వచ్చేస్తుంది సెర్చ్ బటన్.
So I have created the object for the select class, and I have given the D value within that within this brackets.
Okay. Just for the reusability purpose you're doing that.
I have stored it in a web element just for a reusable purpose. Okay. Now what I have done, once this object is created for the select class, the select class is having multiple methods in it, like deselect all, deselect by index, deselect by value means unchecking. And if I want to select the values, then I am using select by index, select by value, select by visible text. Sometimes in a drop down you can select multiple options, right? Some of the drop downs can if you see a multi drop down, see, this is a single drop down value. If I am able to select only one value in this drop down, whereas in multi select you can select more than one value. Okay, that is called as multiple select drop down. See, even here.
Okay.
So in single drop down, you'll be able to select single value, whereas in a multi-select drop down, you can select more than one value from the drop down. So if you want to check whether the drop down is a single drop down or a multi drop down, then you have to use the method is multiple. Is multiple will check whether it is a multiple drop down or not. అర్థమైందా?
అర్థమైంది.
Nausheen, are you
అంటే నువ్వు
understanding?
సింగిల్ అంటే సింగిల్ అని తెలుస్తుంది, ఈజ్ మల్టిపుల్ అంటే దట్ ఇన్ దాట్ కేస్ యు ఆర్ ట్రైంగ్ టు సెలెక్ట్ మల్టిపుల్ థింగ్స్ ద డ్రాప్ డౌన్.
Yeah, if we want to find out, like we have to check.
If I want to check whether it is a single or multiple, then I have to use is multiple method. And this is multiple is a boolean type. So boolean means it will give either true or false. If it is multiple drop down, then it will give me true. If it is not a multiple drop down, it will give me false.
Acha, where it will show?
Like you have to store it in a variable. So for example, I know that it is returning a boolean variable. So I'm just trying to store it. Check. I have given some variable name, and now I'm trying to do cell dot is multiple. And if I want to know what it has returned, I have to do a println statement.
Okay.
So I have to do a println statement, and I have to give that variable. So this is multiple will give me whether it is true or false, and whatever is the output that is stored in the checked variable. So I am just printing out that variable to check whether it is a single drop down or a multiple drop down. And so now in Amazon, is it a single drop down or a multiple drop down?
Multiple.
Huh?
Multiple, right?
No, you cannot select at the same time multiple values in this drop down.
Okay, yeah. It's a single value.
Yeah, here I cannot do multi-select. So this is a single drop down. So what your output should be?
It should be like false.
False. The Selenium should give you false. So now let us run and check. And to select the value, I'm using visible text method. Visible text method means I have to give the value which is present in the inner text. So here whenever I'm expanding, whatever is present in between the opening and closing tag, I have to give that text. So here I wanted to select books from the drop down.
Books. Okay.
So I have given this books text which is written in the option tag. So I have copied the text and I have pasted it as a string. So now I'll run the code. So then what it should happen? It should open the browser, maximize it, click on, and then you are identifying this URL of like the locator of the drop down and storing it. And then I'm trying to check whether it is a multiple one or not. And then I'm trying to select books option from it. And then I'm searching for some book, and then I'm performing a click operation. Once it is done, I'm closing my browser. So let's run and see whether it is selecting the value from the drop down or not. So it's expanded. Now from that all, observe that all drop down. So from that drop down, the value needs to be changed to books. అర్థమవుతుందా ప్రహ్లీ?
అర్థమవుతుంది సరే. ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు రన్ చేసావు కదా?
ఇప్పుడు రన్ చేశాను. ఇప్పుడు అది మారాలి, కొంచెం టైం తీసుకునేది కానీ మారుతుంది ఒకవేళ మనం రాసిన నెక్స్ట్ మార్క్ కరెక్ట్ అయితే. సో ఇప్పుడు బుక్స్కి మారింది కదా. Now it got changed to books. Now it is searching for station 11 and it will do a click operation. And once the page is loaded, as I have written driver.close, the browser will close automatically. Okay. As this is not a multi drop down, you are getting the output as false.
Okay.
Okay.
You gave us
but the like when we search, right, the input you didn't give, that only took the input, like what you want to search.
Yeah, I have given it as station.
You have given. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Okay, so today you have learned how to send the keys, how to perform a click, how to close it, and how to handle the drop downs. So there are different types of web elements for which different types of code we will write. So if I want to handle the drop down, I'll do like this. If I want to handle alerts, like whenever I click on this, whenever I'm facing an alert, there is one different code that I need to write. And if I want to handle multiple windows, so if I'm clicking on this new window, it is moving from my current tab to some other tab. So in order to handle that situation, there is some different code. So for every different types of web elements, we will try to learn how to handle them. Okay,
Okay.
so today practice till here, then we will see the remaining web elements, how to handle them.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, na?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What time do we have the class?
Are tomorrow I'll have my shift tomorrow and day after tomorrow. If you guys are free on Sunday
Mm.
evening, then we will take, or else directly on Tuesday we will take. Just practice this, install it. If you're having any doubts, let me know,
Okay.
because I'll be on a journey.
Okay, we'll continue on Tuesday only. I think I will not be there. You can.
Oh, yeah. Then
Yeah.
we will continue on Tuesday. Just practice till here.
Mm.
If you're having any doubts, let me know. I'll give
Yeah.
some small task like 4 to 5 steps, whatever we have done on a different website. Try to
Mm.
do that in this 5 days.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
with some like questions or something like that.
You can call me anytime. My phone is always available.
Mm. So, Sureka, like one more question. Can you go to that absolute and relative value page?
Oh, yeah. Mm.
You are given two inputs, right, like two statements related to XPath. So, how will you know like what to use like here?
If that ID is not the, like if that attribute equal to value is not giving you one of one even after writing. For suppose if I have written this XPath with the help of class name, then I won't get one of one, right? So in that
Mm.
cases, what should I do? I should go for another way. So like that, in order to write this relative XPath, you'll have 13 different ways.
Okay.
Until
And,
you get one of one, you have
oh,
to keep on trying.
okay. And also you give like inner value something, right? The other one.
Inner text.
Inner text. That like when to use that one?
So whenever you are seeing that there is an inner text, like what in general I prefer is I won't go for this ID and all. I'll just go for this inner text if that inner text is available. But if it is an application which is dealing with multi languages, like
Mm.
if it is in German as well as in English, then this
Mm.
text will be changed, no? So in those cases I should not use this text method to identify my element,
Okay.
because my script will fail. Whenever it is trying to search for login, it is written in some other language, so
Mm.
it can't find my element. So in those cases I won't go for text. So it depends, like you'll come to know which one to use, which formula to use when you are
Mm.
doing that. When you are doing your practice, then you'll come to know.
Okay. These are like different formulas. These are like one of those.
Yeah,
Like.
that's all. You're having like 13 different ones. We will see while handling this Amazon website, you will
Mm.
come to know how to handle every different element. What is this partial link text, tag name, and all. You'll come to know.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay. So, and also I want to ask you. Wait. So, like when we're doing this set map and all, right?
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't have to especially create interface, right? We can just do it in the class only, like normal Java class only, right?
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to create like a separately interface for that. I tried, it worked, but
Ah,
I just wanted to like
you don't need to create. It is all that set class code is already written somewhere
already
else.
interface. Yeah,
Yeah, you are just utilizing it. But
yeah.
here you can, while creating that object, instead of writing here set, you can also write it as tree set. This will also work, like class name equal to new class name also will work. But the best way to write it is to refer to its parent.
Hmm. Okay,
Okay.
got it.
Hmm.
The same with Selenium, the web element is there in a particular package. You try to copy and paste it, right?
Here in Selenium, like instead of writing web driver equal to new Chrome driver, I can
Mm.
also write Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver.
Mm.
That will also work. Even if I run the code like this, that also will work. But the best way to do it is with the help of its parent, because this parent will have all the properties. In this Chrome driver, some properties might not be there.
Mm.
It can have some additional qualities, but it is not including few qualities from its parent.
Mm.
So to utilize everything, we have to refer to its parent.
Okay.
So in interview also they'll ask you, well, like if you are using Chrome driver equal new Chrome driver, will it work?
Okay.
Then you have to say it will work.
It
But
will.
as I said, like we need to test on different browsers. Like we need to test on Chrome, Edge, and Firefox.
Mm.
So at that time, what we will do is we will just declare it somewhere else in the code,
Mm.
and here I will just do driver equal to new Chrome driver if I want to run it on Chrome. If I want to run it on Firefox, I'll do driver equal to new Firefox driver. So just by declaring once, I can utilize it multiple times just by creating the object. I'm writing WebDriver only once. So
Oh,
I'll do it with the help of if else conditions. Like if I want to run it on Chrome, if driver selected driver equal to Chrome, then create object for Chrome driver. If selected driver equal to Firefox, then create object for this. This we will see later, but
okay.
the best way to write is always to refer to its parent.
Mm. Okay.
Okay. Probably నీకు ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా?
లేదన్నా ప్రస్తుతం ఓకే అగైన్
But
prove it.
I'll give you that question to automate for some other website other than Amazon. I'll give
Okay.
for some other website. You have to
Mm.
perform the steps whatever I have asked for. I'll just write like hit the browser, maximize it, select the element, uh, click on the element, send some keys. I'll give like those steps. So
Okay.
based on those steps, you need to automate. I'll give you a manual test case and you need to automate it.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, guys. Chalo then. Bye bye.
Okay.
Mm.
I